Alright, Jersey Jaguars back at you with another video. Today's video is going to be about something that I've been hearing a lot about, and it's the Reverse Retro 2.0's sizing. So apparently the Reverse Retro 2.0's are fitting smaller than the 1.0's, and even slightly smaller than the Prime Greens, and for sure smaller than the Aero Readies. So what we're about to do is we're going to find out exactly how much smaller, if in fact they actually are smaller right now. All right, so just to give you guys a heads up, most of you already noticed, but on some of the hockey jerseys and on these Reverse Retro 2.0s, not all of them have that airflow material by the armpits and on the side of the body. The airflow material is that standard looking mesh that's different than the rest of the material on the body and the jersey. So guys, for example, most of the teams have it, but the Seattle Kraken, for example, and the Chicago Blackhawks don't. It's just the standard body material across the whole thing. And I noticed the ones that don't have the airflow tend to fit smaller on these 2.0s. All right, guys. So I'm just going to give you a heads up about that. And number two, one thing you need to understand, and this just isn't for Adidas hockey jerseys, it's also for Nike and other brands. Not every single size 50, size 52, size 54, etc. fit the same. There's always going to be like a quarter inch, half inch even sometimes within the same sizes. I had the problem before buying both hockey, baseball, and football jerseys from the current seasons. All right, guys, so keep that in mind. And finally, I want to add in for this video, I'm going to be using a standard size 50 across the board. Guys, these are Adidas Authentics, so they are made in Indonesia. These are not MICs. They're standard retail Authentics in size 50, and that's the size I wear. I'm about 6'2", somewhere between 185 and 190 pounds, all right? I wear a size 50, and we're about to see now how much each of these jerseys runs differently in that size 50. Let's get to it. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and start off with the pit to pit. Now guys, pit to pit is gonna be the standard sizing that people look for when they're looking for measurements in a jersey. And also this is gonna be probably the widest across the board in terms of sizing and where we're at with the differences in the jerseys. Also, I want to mention that, guys, I'm not going to go over how to measure jerseys or jersey sizing specifics in this video. I have a video about that already. I'll put how to measure jersey video in the description. All right, so starting with these pit-to-pit measurements, the biggest we have is the Aero Ready, and that measures out at about 23.5 inches. Next on the line, we have the Prime Green and the 1.0 measuring at about 23. Finally, we have the, Reverse Retro 2.0, the smallest, at 22.25 to about 22.5, give or take. All right, and next we have the body measurements. Now, guys, the body's going to be under the chest, somewhere about the mid-level of the ribs. All right, so with that said, let's get to the measurements now. All right, with the Aero Ready and the 1.0, we have about 22.75 across the body. Prime Green is just a hair bit bigger, not really much to mention. And at 22.5, we got, again, the 2.0 being the smallest. All right, so next we have the waist measurements. Now the waist measurements are gonna be somewhere between your belt line and your hips. And it's gonna be obviously towards the bottom of the jersey, guys. Not at the bottom, but towards the bottom. And on all these Adidas Authentics, they do slightly flare out. We're gonna see which ones flare out the most now. All right, so in a tie, the Aero Ready and the 1.0 are about 24.5 inches across, and the Prime Green at 2.0, again, the 2.0 is gonna be the smallest at 24 inches across. So guys, not too much of a difference, but there definitely is a difference there. Okay, top to bottom is gonna be the back of the neckline all the way down to the back side of the jersey. And guys, surprisingly, these all have the same measurements at 32 inches, or at least from the ones I have. Now again, keep in mind, like I said, that even within the same size, you might get one jersey that fits like this. You might get another jersey from the same generation and season that fits slightly different. It just depends whatever's going on at that specific factory at Adidas for that day, surprisingly, as crazy as it is to say. All right, and now we have the shoulder measurements. And guys, the shoulder measurements are gonna be right here from the inside of the neck to the shoulder. All right, it's not gonna be the whole sleeve. We're gonna do the whole sleeve next, but for now, we're just gonna measure that first section on the shoulder where the hemline is. All right, so right now we're gonna see the biggest difference within the sizes for these jerseys, guys. The Arrow Ready is gonna be the biggest at 8 inches from the inside hem of the collar to the shoulder hem. And then we're gonna have just over 7 3/4 inches on the 1.0. That prime green is gonna have 6 3/4 inches. And then surprisingly and shockingly, much smaller is gonna be the 2.0 at 6.5 inches across. And finally, we got the total sleeve length. So the total sleeve length is going to be from that inside hem of the collar again, but now it's going to go all the way down to the outside hem or the bottom of the sleeve, all the way at the end of it, all right? So actually on this one, overall, the sleeve was the biggest on the 1.0 with 32, all right? Arrow Ready was a little bit over 31.5, so not too much difference there. And then tied for the prime green and the 2.0 is going to be 30. So we definitely do see some sleeve length and shorter sleeves on that 2.0. I mean, it depends like on your body type. If you're like me where you got a lot longer arms than for your body height, it makes a difference. All right, so as you can see, overall, that Arrow Ready jersey is going to be the biggest out of the bunch, followed by the standard 1.0, then the prime green and the 2.0 are roughly about the same size, give or take minute differences here and there. Guys, I hope this video really and truly helped. If you had any questions at all, don't hesitate to ask me. If there's another video you'd like to see in the future, hey man, I'll do my best to get it done. And guess what? I'll see you at the next one.